All right, folks, welcome back to the TING Open Wildcard Group number 2. It's worth noting that all the players playing today, both Snoot and Laser, who just finished playing, NaNiwa and Bunny now, these are all folks who got through the wildcard qualifier, and the wildcard qualifier was really just open to anybody and everybody, from every region, any region, and it's kind of awesome / curious to me that this did end up being almost 8, well, it was actually pretty much just 8 Europeans who took all the wildcard slots.
It was.
We had Korean sign up and play, we had double elimination formats, but these are the ones who powered through. So, that being said, spawning here on the bottom right side of Dust Towers, sorry, bottom left side, excuse me, it's the blue Terran, Team Liquid's Bunny.
The top right as the red Protoss, he is NaNiwa.
Okay, so really interested to see this match more than any other for any of the other groups, because NaNiwa is the player who fell from grace, and I don't mean in terms of his career or anything like that, but he did stop playing straight up. Then Legacy of the Void rolled around, he picked up the game, has apparently been having some fun with it. If you guys have been watching his streams, he's been looking good, and when we saw him in the wildcard qualifiers, he looked fantastic. Now, it was a little disappointing that he didn't actually qualify through, but he did play well. We wanted more Protoss. These two things combined, we invited him back.
Mm-hmm.
And
I believe he lost to Zergs, too.
Yes. Although it was funny watching his... I still think his and Penguin series is probably my favorite out of that entire qualifier.
That was pretty good.
I would like to remark on something, guys. NaNiwa is streaming his matches, and that's totally fine. We've never really had a reason to tell players, no, you can't do this. But do keep in mind, I don't know if he's using the same delay, less delay, more delay than us. So either way, whether you're watching our stream or his stream, please request no spoilers in anybody's chat. And if you do any spoilers in our chat, it is just going to get you straight up banned. And yes, that does cover Darth Vader being Luke's father.
No, you did it though, so are you gonna get banned?
Banned for life.
So bringing up that NaNiwa did end up losing to Zergs in the qualifier. He was invited back. Means that's it's not like, it's if this was him versus Snoot, for instance, if he loses it will be after all. Or if he wins actually. Let's go to conundrum for him. He might be going into this being like, Margish, Megan, Fernagan, Figgin, Schnagan. Because Protoss don't like Zerg right now. Especially, I believe that the win records were not announced, but given yesterday. And apparently Terran is now favored in this matchup too. So Protoss just feeling it all around.
No, I would definitely feel that that'd be the case. You've got players like Bunny who can be pretty aggressive and certainly be frightening to fight against, but then you've also got the Liberator conundrum, where we just see so few people handling Liberators well. Not to say that's impossible to deal with Liberators, obviously, but just it tends to snowball because you think, oh, I've got enough Blink Stalkers, I'll blink under this and snipe them off really quick, but you're actually one shot shy of like one volleying them down, and like it just gets worse and worse from there.
Of course, we've been seeing Protoss use Colossus as almost a counter to Liberators, which sounds really odd because they can't even attack Liberators, but they do well against them. But I think just overall, there's inconsistency in this matchup. You have Terrans who can go for one base that's really hard for Protoss to defend. You have Terrans that can just play like Heart of the Swarm and drop everywhere. That's still hard for Protoss to defend. And then you do have the ones that go for the very, very late game with Liberators, which are still hard to defend, like there's not these perfect answers for every single one. It's actually kind of funny how much it's changed since Heart of the Swarm, where it used to be that you could list off like 20 different things that Protoss could do, and how terrified Terran was of all the time. Now with Adepts being nerfed, so the all-ins that were used to scare us so badly are kind of gone, I think that Terran actually has a lot more control than they've ever had.
So, what's kind of interesting to see about the War Prism opening here is this was not for like a disruptor or anything like that. I got to tell you though, like all Protoss right now who are playing StarCraft 2 should not be looking at like any Koreans like Zest or anyone. In my opinion, they should all be looking at Neeb. And specifically,
what do you think Neeb's looking to?
No, I know, but no, like hear me out. Like I know I'm saying this is a bit of a joke, but honestly, like Neeb has been kicking ass all over the place. And get shut down. So, ooh. That was combination luck, but combination good setup out of Bunny. I mean, a War Prism typically ends up not coming in the mineral line, but like a little bit to the north. So that Widowmine was going to hit, but the turret wasn't necessarily.
There's a
weapon upgrade.
No, a Widowmine drop. My bad. And a couple of Marines, I guess.
Oh dear.
10 probes to 8 SCVs.
Well, Well, hang on. While this was going on, there's actually a really important aspect to this fight where NaNiwa got +1 really quick. And this was really important for those adepts to 2-shot an SCV instead of 3-shotting them. So NaNiwa taking that damage, that sucked. But with how few adepts got out of that Warp Prism, without that +1, he doesn't cause enough counterattack damage to Bunny at all. So that +1 actually incredibly important and really cool to see. I like that.
I still don't think he did enough damage. The worker count being in favor of Bunny, whose third disease is finishing up right now, is not what you would want. Because, of course, you have to account for mules, too, as always for Terran. So I do feel better in this game for Bunny, but this is, far from over. We do have double drops coming out here, and we do only have the Adepts right now, who do not have their Resonating Glaives.
No, but, again, that +1 weapons is strange. Like, it's almost like you traded out Resonating Glaives for +1. And to be honest, it's better because if you can 2-shot a Marine without combat shields and you can 2-shot an SCV, that's better than a 40% attack speed.
Well, the problem is that NaNiwa, he wanted that Warp Prism to live forever and always be able to counterattack and stop these things from happening, or at least punish them for happening. Now, a well-placed pylon means that they're going to drop on top of an attack, which is not ideal, so just pick up and leave. A blink is not close to finishing at all. You're just going to have apparently drops, and more drops.
Yeah, it can be certainly frustrating to deal with. You bring up that Warp Prism, and almost as a Mothership Core. The Warp Prism's a great point, though, because if NaNiwa was able to warp in even just 2 Adepts while this was going on, there's counterattack damage. But right now, he's not trading, he's losing.
Yep. Losing a lot. 11, 12. I mean, this one
in.
drop has been doing most of the damage, but this other drop is starting to as well. Start killing workers, starting to kill Adepts. It's depleted the Mothership Core energy, although she did live.
By the way, people are asking about Twitch problems. They've just tweeted recently that there is a problem on the site, so loading issues for people, I guess. I'm not sure what the deal is, but do not... I guess this isn't the typical don't leave because we want viewers, but this is like, be careful if you leave, you might not actually be able to come back.
Oof. So Bunny was able to save, I think, all of his medevacs. Yeah, this last one so close to death, but to actually live. So he brings the one that sells units back with the double drop. So that's the one that's going to the north right now. That's the old double drop. And he's just bringing the rest of the medevacs back home to repair. So really nice saves on that. And NaNiwa is still not done with this. Now, this time he helped Blink, which will help a little bit. Maybe the medevacs actually will die this time, but it's tough.
Well, Mothership Core is got just enough energy to stop this. It is only 4 Marines, so not that big of a deal. It's the natural base that is a lot more scary, and unfortunately, Adepts aren't going to be the answer for a lot of Marauders. And these Stalkers have got to be careful. They do have Blink, so we're going to see some micro on NaNiwa, hopefully, but just kind of bleeding out a couple on the front line. Guardian Shield, absolutely instrumental to reducing that damage, but just... can't keep up with the mobility of Bunny. Bunny is all over the place, and he's all over NaNiwa.
He's his game. So, another thing that really sucks for NaNiwa is that was his map choice, and he seemed very eager to have it as his first map choice. So to lose it, and in really convincing style from Bunny, to go on to now Bunny's map choice is not the... that's super great.
Orbital Shipyard?
Yep.
The map order. Yo, it's so weird. It's really sunny outside. This is like a hardcore case of like April showers because it is like monsooning simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
I only mention this because my weather is always questionable and just if I disappear, you'll know why.
Okay, I got everything ready. But we finally have decent temperature. So yesterday it was the 30s. Oh yeah,
you're not wearing your coat for once.
Today, it's in the 60s, so I am very excited.
Nice. That does not sound like good weather to me.
60 Celsius?
Alright, Orbital Shipyard loaded up. Game number 2 on the way. I gotta say, though, if we could go back in time, I really would have loved to see how that game played out if NaNiwa had not lost that Warp Prism. And again, this wasn't necessarily to his chagrin, so to speak. Like, Bunny, a little bit luck with the Widowmine, a little bit luck with the Missile Turret, getting that 1 or 2 shots off. I mean... once a Widowmine hits a Warp Prism, it is pretty much almost dead. Like, anything looking at it will kill it. But, anyways, we'll see what happens. Game number 2 coming up. We'll see you guys here in just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ting Open. Zombie Grub, if people want to get $25 in credit from Ting, where can they go?
They can go to bttv.ting.com.
Woo! Save esports while you're there, guys. game number 2, of course, currently underway in this best of 5. Winner of this goes on to fight against the Laser. Loser of this falls to fight against Snoot. And currently down 1 point. In the top right, it's going to be the red Protoss NaNiwa.
In the bottom left, as the blue Terran, he's a bunny.
Okay, so, well, there's a lot to say and a lot to kind of almost geek out about for NaNiwa, despite losing. I gotta say, Bunny, like, the medevac control was good. Watching drops go off is always nice. Like, that's kind of what you come to expect out of a player like Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there wasn't anything super phenomenal about his play. Like, he didn't have this, like, crazy weird one-base build.
Nope.
He just kind of played how you expect Terran to play. And in that respect, when you watch things like that, you can be like, wow, no wonder Terran's got, like, the racist nerve and blah, blah, blah. But again, I just bring this up because I was so obsessed with it. I really do wonder how different that game would have looked if that Warp Prism had survived. If a second Warp Prism had come into play. You know, like a lot of little what-if butterfly moments in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as bad as what I'm about to say, but kind of like the same idea. Imagine if that was a Bailing Bus that didn't work. Like, would you have been like, oh, Terran's so freaking overpowered if they won after that?
Yeah.
Not so much. So the Warp Prism was really quite key for NaNiwa. Now, does it suck that Protoss has to depend so much on one single unit? Kind of, yes.
That's kind of the Protoss race in a nutshell, though. I mean, like,
it
really
has
strong
been, yes.
one unit that, like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So it just transferred over from the Colossus to the War Prism, but that's the way it's going to go when you do something like that. So, I mean, Bunny also taking advantage of that, because he, like I said in the beginning of that game, there's a couple different styles. Dusk Tower is usually pushing Terran towards the more late-game Liberator style, too. So, like, recognize his position and just instantly start dropping everywhere was also a really good choice. And, well, NaNiwa just couldn't deal with it. Over Shipyard is, you know, similar in that the 3 bases are easy to take, but there's not that pyramid kind of setup for the 3 bases. Usually makes it harder, actually, to defend, but we'll see if NaNiwa's opener does a lot better.
Yeah, probe on the way. No bunker here for Bunny. NaNiwa should be able to get those pylons down to tear through this. You can actually get the pylons just slightly out of range of the Marines, but even if he doesn't in this instance, because it's a Hellion, what am I? You know, he's setting up for a drop, basically. These pylons are actually going to be able to knock down this wall. There's actually not going to be enough damage area field to stop this from happening. So Bunny's now faced with a tough choice because he sees this very clearly. Do you still continue with the drop across the map, or do you stay at home to defend with what you have? Now, these Marines are going to start pushing out, and for NaNiwa, actually, this is scary, but 2 Adepts...
Run!
Like
he puts the Widow Mine in range of the Militia Corps if she went to go Photon Overcharge. So I think that was his plan here, but
clever.
She just kind of dodges around it.
Yeah, the Photon Overcharge still goes off, so the main priority here is still happening. Now, the attack goes to the other side of the map, and there won't be a Photon Overcharge to defend, so NaNiwa's going to have to keep the Adepts at home to fight with. Mothership Corps is going to tear down 3 depots in the process, and hardcore supply block Bunny.
Yeah. Bunny was going for a 1-base build, so it's not like his command center is just about to finish up and he's going to have the supply. No, that's just straight up supply block.
Kanaka for NaNiwa, because you can't like, what do I do with this Mothership Corps? Do I recall it? Do I take it elsewhere? He does put down a pylon wall to make sure reinforcements can't run by, and I think that's really clever, but he is still forced to fight with a very limited amount of units. So picking up the Widow Mine, not going to stop it, but it will keep it from getting involved with the fight right now, which allows the Adept to fight 1 or 2 of these units at a time. Surrounds the Widow Mine, gets the kill, because if he didn't, that would have been dangerous for those probes, but he holds on to this, and NaNiwa doesn't lose too much for it. He loses mining, and that absolutely sucks, but not much.
Yeah. There was some interesting micro going on there. You know, first Bunny was trying to intercept the Marines, then doing so kept on missing the shots of his Hellions. They would get lined up to shoot, and then they would be microed again. And also, you almost saw the Adepts change hurt NaNiwa, because that Hellion had like 1 HP left and was so close to getting a lined up shot, and then it was microed. Yeah,
that was one of those silly things where we learned recently the Adept actually takes... That was like an unintended nerf, I guess, buff, whatever you want to call it. Now, there are Phoenix in play, so the Liberator is going to be annoying, but he's actually got a way to deal with this. Normally, we watch this just do tremendous amounts of damage, but big part of this keeping those 3 pylons walled up at the front means no Hellions run by to catch those probes that are transferring and stacking around. Liberator going to set up and maybe get a kill. It won't be too bad, but Phoenix is slowly taking care of it.
There you go, buddy.
Kind of funny to see on the other side of the map, those pylons still there, not being cleaned up. Not so dangerous right now, but you do want to get rid of those. You don't want to just have NaNiwa warping in DTs or something uncontested.
Yeah, definitely. So Bunny's going to play very defensive here. You know, like, he's not going to get a lot of barracks. They take a while to get set up, so he's going to go for a few key units while getting a much faster 3rd CC, kind of making up for the much later natural with that one base build that straight up didn't work. Like NaNiwa had really good defense against it, so kind of the flip of last game. NaNiwa's in a great position now.
Yeah, I mean, he actually... I like the aggressive part of that. That was cool, but he dealt with Bunny's attack very efficiently. If he didn't have that one Phoenix at home, if that one Widowmine had burrowed, that could have been devastating for him.
Mm-hmm. Late in the turrets. Oh, Cyclone!
Barely gets the Phoenix. Man, I will say this about Terran right now. Between Cyclone range and Liberators, I can understand why every Protoss player is like, fuck Terran at this current point in the game, you know? Oh!
What?
He killed the pylon to leave the base, and it's deep power. I don't know if he's realized this, though, Zombie Gub.
That's hilarious.
Oh no, NaNiwa.
Luckily, there he goes.
Okay,
You won't need the Observer immediately, but if there's like a Widowmine shot, that could have been devastating.
This is such a small detail, too, because if you killed the southern pylon, that wouldn't have been an issue at all. It's kind of funny to see. This will cut into Immortal production, which slightly will suck. But if NaNiwa loses this game by 1 Immortal, we'll know why.
Second Liberator coming in here.
That was such
Instant
a mean
reaction.
laugh. Wow. That's like Nelson for The Simpsons. Like, ha ha.
Yeah, that was. The second Liberator is, kind of the same that the first Liberator did, which is not much. But Bunny's still committing to Liberator production.
I mean, he definitely should. They're very good in the matchup, just straight up.
They are, but it's Bunny does not have any fodder on the ground. Like he's it's borderline like a mech push, with Liberators, tanks, and unupgraded Marines. But he is planning on getting upgraded Marines. He's just been stuck defensively for so long. Getting these units would be better than trying to get that stim quicker. Because honestly, by the time he got stim and combat shields, it would Nani would have a really good defensive setup himself. So slow and steady, take the third base. Nani was already mining on his. Phoenix control's been pretty good.
So, having grown up with bad cartoons from, like, the 80s and 90s depicting what lasers are and never really doing damage, it's so hard to look at a Phoenix shoot and be like, yeah, that's a devastating attack. It's just like you shining a flashlight on the enemy.
It also kind of, like, curves, right? So it looks like it'd be, like, not very scary.
You know what? That's actually a funny thing. I wish someone would go over the design, because there's that guy who's been doing, like, the evolution of StarCraft units, right, on Reddit?
Yeah.
The design of the Phoenix is really cool because the curved shot had a lot to do with the ability they lost from the beta of Wings of Liberty, where they could overcharge temporarily, do crazy stupid damage, and then like be depowered for a few seconds. And it had everything to do with why the attack is designed with like a little bit of a curve. But unfortunately, it never made it to the live release of the game. Ooh, that's on top of the tank. That Widowmine's not burrowed, so he focuses that down. Nicely done on NaNiwa. Just walk away from the Liberator shots and now push back those SCVs. Of course, with the Phoenix still in play, the Liberators are not going to be the defensive units he wants them to be.
Well, that missile turret helps him out a lot, but there's so few Marines. He does still have the supply depots up.
But he doesn't have combat shields.
No, he doesn't have anything.
With NaNiwa having the +1 upgrades, again, it goes back to that point where these Marines will get two-shot and killed pretty quickly.
Barely in range of those Liberators. Otherwise, yeah, I think he may have been able to take out all those Marines.
Of course, Bunny could have repositioned those slightly, too.
Yeah.
13 kills, though, is pretty nice. And let's not forget, while this is going on, Bunny is still not advancing really forward, as weird as that is to say. Like, he's still waiting for Stim to finish. It's not like he gets this done any faster. He has to bide his time. Once Stim finishes, then he can start combat shields, right? Like, these Marines are not going to be able to actually fight these Adepts very well. It is the Liberators, it is the Marines.
Talk about some serious revenge. Like, this game is just complete opposite of the last game, but so similar. Like, the drops from NaNiwa are the Warp Prisms and the Shades.
I feel like NaNiwa is one of those guys who, like the worse he loses a game, he doesn't get depressed off of it like everyone else. He's just like, fuck you harder.
Revenge,
yeah. He's like, it's the vengeance of NaNiwa. Saying, thank you for that first game, buddy. It gave me the power to wreck you in game 2. As sadly, that's kind of what's been going on here. Now, funny enough, you brought up that point. NaNiwa picked the first map, means Bunny picked the second map, and with Bunny's map picking Orbital, this hasn't been going so hot for him just yet. Colossus is going to be coming out too instead of Disruptors. Like this choice. I think
you can see how many Liberators are being created.
What's kind of interesting, you mentioned before about the Colossus being inadvertently a bit of a counter, even though it makes no sense for it to be because it doesn't shoot up. It is like a really high health unit that's hard to deal with because of its range, and it's just that difference of the Disruptor being so much damage but so fragile, the Colossus so little damage but very strong, and I don't think we're going to see Viking production anytime soon.
Nah, he doesn't have the economy for it, but We have
Well,
seen people,
he's
if they
gonna shoot for the stars.
if they do have the economy, try and go for Vikings when they see Colossus. The other thing that we don't see too often yet, because this is still like kind of new, the Liberator versus Colossus deal, whatever, is that the Colossus, even if they do go in range of the Liberators, you don't see any focus fire on them. They're usually the last thing to be targeted, which, in reality, they should be the first thing. So that might change as the game continues to develop. But Bunny, who's just been in a super defensive setup, he looked like he was so close to being overwhelmed when NaNiwa was attacking to the front and the back. It's actually stabilized to an okay point. Not a great point. NaNiwa on a 4th base, obviously looking pretty good here, but to a point where like Liberators defensively will probably get him to a maxed out army, and then a maxed out army has, all the potential in the world. Hurrah, imagination.
Yeah, okay, sure. So Liberators getting some pretty good coverage of the base. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel that much. I am now being made aware of something I did not consider before this, though, that we should probably address after the game is done. I keep forgetting, NaNiwa's in North America right now. Oh, War Prism gets shut down. It doesn't seem to have been a problem yet, and we don't see any issues with latency, but we should, I guess, probably offer him the option of server swap, because this isn't an EU group, it's the wildcard group.
Oh, yeah, I think you would have mentioned that.
I didn't consider it because I just, in my mind, no matter what, it's like NaNiwa Europe, right? Like, I know he's in America, but it doesn't register with me.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that after this, because NaNiwa was pushing in there, but Liberator circles are going to be like, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah. This is still a problem, though, because Bunny is, while he's getting a command center down, yeah, you can sit up and turtle your 3rd base. He's not taking a 4th, whereas NaNiwa is happily mining off of his. And if NaNiwa continues to expand and just drop down a couple of cannons here and there with that extra money, then he won't even have to worry about drops. He can just focus on pressuring. Advanced ballistics on the way, so the Liberators will get a little bit of extra range on them soon.
2 Colossus isn't quite enough here. I think we usually see 4 to deal with it. And just, it's a defensive setup as well. Like, you don't really want to go into that. It's when they start trying to move across the map that you can really catch them off guard. Bunny is slowly getting to maxed. His army's actually ahead now thanks to the lower workers. Thanks, mules.
Go Terran. NaNiwa with a couple of Tempests coming out. He's getting his own air upgrades. The nice thing, the thing that we're finding so just wonderful about seeing the Tempest come into play is not that these are units that hard counter a Liberator. And I mean, they technically are because of their range. But in all regards, a Liberator, okay, it's cool, it's defensive, does a lot of damage. It can't be in air mode and ground mode at the same time. So either it's air mode to take out the Liberators, maybe rely on the Marines to deal with the that for the Tempest, but NaNiwa's the one who's going to be picking and choosing these fights. That range, though, pretty ridiculous.
Reach! I know, right? Very interesting decision to go over there. Now, if Bunny can get a concave, then the Colossus, damage nerf does affect that a little bit, but it is a pretty heavy Marine army. It finds that War Prism with another Liberator here is not going to have the help of the Liberators, and I don't know, that is a good concave, but...
He gets the Liberators involved in the fight so late. A lot of the bio does go down, but NaNiwa's also starting to bleed out a lot of his army. He does get those Adepts to the main, though, and, well, frankly, not being controlled...
Did he shade those through? I don't think he had a second Warp Prism.
He must have, because I didn't see that Warp Prism do the warp in. It was just kind of chilling the whole time, right?
Yeah, very, very odd. So that's 20 more workers killed. I mean, on 4 bases, if he had time, then, like Mule and then try and recover, but...
If he had the bank for it and maxed out behind this, that would be like a 180 Terran army.
Almost unbeatable. That's where the Tempests are really going to come in handy here. So if Bunny ever goes, like, I have to attack when you go, and then the Tempest will slowly pick him off, and so much for those 4 bases.
Yeah. TLO hosted us, by the way, so big love to TLO and hello to all his viewers. You did sadly miss the Zerg match. Soon a laser did already play out, but the winner of this guaranteed to fight against the Zerg. The loser of this guaranteed to fight against the Zerg. So you Zerg fans out there should be pretty happy, I imagine.
Some nice Liberator harassments. Warps in a couple more Stalkers to deal with the one attacking his 3rd, actually. A little funny, can't reach the other one. And NaNiwa does retreats. So Bunny is back to not quite square one, but back to like, okay, I can either go out and attack right now, or I can hold up and defend and try and get a 4th base. And looks like he's going to try and attack and expand this time.
This attack timing is going to be a little bit odd. NaNiwa doesn't have a lot of Templar pre-warped in, getting energy right now, but he does have Storm finishing up. So the bio is really not that much of a problem, except to threaten the Tempest. If the Tempest just chill back...
Like, using half of them in those anti-air modes are gonna hit the Tempest and the Colossus here. This is not a bad start. Gets away from the Liberators, however.
As the Marines sim forward, they threaten the Tempest, trying to focus some of them down, but the Marines die so quickly to the Colossus, so the Tempest really don't have a proper answer. He is still focusing on these Liberators to the best of his capabilities, blinking in and out of the circles. Control from NaNiwa looking fantastic. GG. Game number 2 will go to NaNiwa.
Good game.
Yeah, he'll tie up the series 1-1. I will say this, though, like, if Bunny had won that game, as much as I am strongly Terran biased, I would be the first person to call bullshit. Because NaNiwa got so ahead so quick in that game. And there were a couple points where it started looking like, oh my god, are the Liberators actually going to be broken enough to win the game?
Shh. Just revenge for all the times that you think you're winning against a Protoss and Heartless Swarm, and then they get maxed out, and you're just like, rip.
So the Liberators as a unit is cool, right? And I don't have a lot of problems with the way it's brought Legacy of the Void to where it is. But I gotta wonder, would Herx have been that bad? Like, with the way the game
what
plays
would they
now?
have done?
I don't know. Like, be melee units. Can Terran just get one fucking melee unit, please?
No.
And I'm not talking about SCVs. Those don't count. Although, yo, what if you could like do some Warcraft 3 style human militia shit with your workers, right? Like Terran could like call to arms the SCVs, and they could like.
That was like Brood War workers, man. Like SCVs were so good in Brood War. They basically were militia.
They had more health in Brood War, didn't they?
Yes, they originally started out with the same health, and then people in StarCraft 2 were like, "This is stupid. Change it."
Well, yeah, because I remember while I was not super into StarCraft back then, I would watch 4GG and Dragon just do these dumb like pull SCV early on with Marine builds because they had like 60 health.
Not 4GG. 4GG didn't swap over until a year and a half into StarCraft 2.
Maybe just Dragon then. I just remember those were the only 2 Terrans I watched before I got into competitive StarCraft. So for me, my timeline's like whatever. Yep. But Prion Terrace is coming up next. Gold-based map. Enjoy. We'll see you guys soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TING Open. Hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday here on BaseTradeTV. Spawning at the top left side of Prion Terraces, we got the blue Terran player, Team Liquid's Bunny.
In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he's NaNiwa.
So again, just a reminder, guys, if you want to support this tournament, but you also want to maybe get a better phone service for yourself and you live in the United States, make sure to check out TING, specifically through bttv.ting.com. And if you do sign up for TING and for whatever reason you didn't use this link to get the $25 in credit, TING are being really awesome and accommodating about it, and they will retroactively apply it to your account. So if you are worried that you may have missed out on that $25 savings, just let Jesse know next time you see him in chat, and he will absolutely hook you up. He's been really cool about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, got to give a bit of love to one of the greatest Terrans of all time. Join us in chat. Nathanius, spamming dank memes.
Yes, he is. Not complaining at all. Not making any cheeky tweets at all.
I really... lately it's been kind of fun for me, not because like, oh my god, we got popular people in chat, but it's cool to see like, got Harsum and Scarlet getting involved with Partoofs. Nate drops by from time to time to do some dank memes. You'll see the Muslim prop up in chat if like, I don't know, the right people are there. It's kind of cool that BaseTradeTV has become a better hangout place, I guess. I don't know. That makes me really happy. It makes me really happy. So thank you guys for hanging out in chat.
Mm-hmm. The first time the Twilight Council was streaming, I don't know if you've caught any of it.
Le Twilight Council, excuse you?
Oh, excuse me. Le Twilight Council.
Pardon-moi.
Keep on saying le, man. Psh. Anyways, there was a lot of pro players. Some on accounts that I didn't recognize were their accounts, actually. Like, Marine Lord's on his, Scarlet was on hers, but then, I forget who else was there that I couldn't recognize, but all the pro players were, like, talking to each other. Everyone else was like, we're so popular with these popular people.
I mean, I guess there's got to be some aspect of that, right? Like, you and I or me more than you, take some of, like, our friendship with the gamers a bit, the players a bit for granted because we talk to them all the time. Whereas these guys are seeing them chat for like the first time and like, oh my god, I've never got to say hi to Scarlet before. What's up? How you doing? I'm your biggest fan.
Still constantly starstruck. It's fine.
With everyone except Scarlet, you've gotten like really mean big sister with Scarlet. Like,
mean?
I almost feel bad for her sometimes, man.
What have I said that's mean?
Like literally everything. I'm gonna show her this VOD and she's gonna be like, yep.
Are you sure? Literally everything.
Okay, the Adept Shade coming across the map. This time we have an Oracle, so NaNiwa is changing it up a little bit, but the Stargate's still going to allow him to go for Phoenix or anything else he'd like to behind this. Bunny does get the supply depot up, so cancels on the Adept so as not to lose it. It's a great scouting tool to just keep this alive. But that Oracle is going to be really interesting, because if Bunny has a Widowmine down, maybe it gets the kill and stops the Oracle outright. But on the other hand, the middle base here is funny. It says you can't have the Widowmine cover both sides of the mineral patches in the natural. And, regarding the server thing, NaNiwa's not complained about it, guys. And to be honest, like, if he's not complaining, then I'm going to assume it's not an issue. But we will definitely bring it up after we're done with this first series.
I wonder, too, if there's a default server. That's what I was going to ask.
Right. Like, we actually haven't had to worry about cross-server play in any groups so far. So just it's something that innocently slipped our mind. But, yeah, we just went from game to game so quick, we kind of forgot to bring it up. And if he's not complaining about it, then I guess it's not that big of an issue.
Mm.
But sometimes NA to EU can be not so great, so...
Definitely.
Anyways, the Oracle does get about 4 CV kills, which is nice. Gets out of there, stays alive, which is better, because, of course, Revelation is one of the nicest tools. It's so funny the way this changed, because I still think there are certain situations where the old Revelation was better, clearly. But the new Revelation has been so effective in so many situations. You can't hate the way it was changed.
I remember originally we did, but I forget why.
Because nobody was using it correctly.
I guess so. It'd be like, the situations where there's a Widowmine on either side of your base and you have one Oracle. That's when it sucks. But when there's a whole group of lurkers that are bunched up together, that's when it's amazing.
Yeah. Or you tag a DT, it's better than the way it used to work because you don't have to follow it. It just stays on it forever. Things like that. Small details. But the Revelation skill minus the actual detection portion of it's still nice just to keep tabs on where things are. And with these Phoenix in tow, he actually can't use these Widowmines. A little unfortunate. It should just get scooped up. Yep.
A bit questionable to do that if you know that Phoenixes are out in play.
Well, I mean, I think the idea was that he was going to lose pretty much no matter what. So you might as well try rather than just give it away for nothing.
Well, I mean, if you knew that Phoenixes were out, you'd never leave the base.
This chase, this looks so silly.
You would never leave the base. But I actually don't know if you saw the Phoenixes. And you also maybe hope that the Phoenixes were out of position.
This reminds me of like every bad cop car chase from the movie, like from the 80s.
Totally.
But, no, I agree. Like, he probably shouldn't have gone for that in the first place, but regardless, that's how it played out. Now, for Bunny, it doesn't have a third base down as quick as NaNiwa does. And on this map, with the gold being the accelerated income that it is, it's a little worrisome. Because let's not forget, while Bunny's dropping mules in the natural, this doesn't actually mine any faster. It's just like having an extra SCV. The mules only get the benefit from the blue mineral patches.
Mm-hmm.
But
mules got nerfed hard with the course of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, they can only you can't stack them the way you used to be able to either. I didn't even know about that until someone made that Reddit thread.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that either. Apparently they had talked about it, but never said they were doing it. That happens sometimes.
I feel it happens a lot of the time. Like, a lot of things. But regardless, going back to the mineral income point, not only, can you build cannons like this, which is kind of cute because you can actually afford to do it, NaNiwa's going to have like a lot of warping potential. We've actually seen a lot of just straight up Adept all-ins win. Korea mostly more than other regions, but just the brute force that is a lot of Adepts can be so scary to deal with. NaNiwa, however, doesn't have the production for this just yet. His gateway's only just finishing, so it's a little concerning as there is a push coming down the middle of the map. Now, Revelation will tag the army, so these Widowmines will have detection on them for a while, but this is they're going to have +1, which is great because Bunny is he's got combat shields. He's going to need every bit of damage to deal with these Marines.
The shades should not go through. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, actually, with the Widowmines there. But Bunny, it looks like he's going to hold off on the attack as long as he's got Revelation on them. The Warp Prism's ready to go, actually, and that's a little worrying. Bunny completely not going to see that. Could warp in quite a few units if NaNiwa was using it. He sees the army, he knows it's not moving forward, but he doesn't know about the reinforcements, and Bunny does segment off the ones that don't have the Revelation to try and drop.
Well, he's going to worry about a drop of his own here in a moment. Those Widowmines going to get scooped up, so NaNiwa looks like he wants to try and take the fight. Baits him out with the Widowmines on top of the Phoenix, but Warp Prism's still not going in. He's got his own defense he's going to have to worry about here shortly as well. If he uses all the Warpins on the other side of the map, like he currently is, this might actually just turn this into an incidental base trade. Because for NaNiwa, perhaps realizing too late, this isn't some macro thing. This is a pretty big all-in out of Bunny. So trading out SCVs might not be what you want to do because it's not trades that Bunny's looking for here. He's looking for a kill. He's looking to win. Mothership Core is absolutely going to die. Pops off all the overcharges before she goes down. Kills a considerable amount of the bio. And you know what? If NaNiwa can get warp-ins before these gateways are all depowered, he might just be able to hold.
That was so awkward. In the middle of the map, the armies bypassed each other without attacking. Bunny, of course, going back to defend against this. NaNiwa going back to defend against this. So they could have had another fight in the middle. Chose not to.
But
this drop's going to try and leave. There's not really enough Marines to stop the Phoenixes from killing all of them.
Yo, SCV's down to 17 for Bunny is not a good spot to be in.
No, it is not. But its army supplies is still balling from it.
What about
good job,
still here?
Woodamine.
Forgot about those. Now, yeah, Bunny's army supply still looks good, but this is, it was already an all-in. It's following up to be an all-in. Like, he really has to win with this attack. Especially with the SCVs having gone down, there's not going to be around 3, 4, or 5.
Well, that's all going into this one drop, and that is quite risky. Another adept warp in from NaNiwa too, who has that warperism that's it's not even seen right now. There's no supply depot over there to even see it.
Yeah.
This is totally all in, and NaNiwa didn't see this drop, so it could work. You get the high ground, the ramp concave.
It's hard to get that against the depths though. You can just Psionic transfer through. He's going to try and take the fight outright. Again, running in to scoop up the Widow Mines. Great Phoenix control here from NaNiwa, but is that going to be enough? Because it is entering this really weird, desperate situation. A Colossus comes out. Whoa, surprise! But most of the fodder for this is dying underneath it, and if he loses the fodder, they can just stay on top of the Colossus. So a little bit awkward, a little bit weird. He's got to fall back to his new warpins and try and keep this Colossus alive. It's the damage he needs to have.
Oh my god, this ended up being
so close.
This one Colossus adding so much extra damage. Bunny has really nothing reinforcing.
NaNiwa, he needs more reinforcements, though. Colossus is going to go down. There's another Colossus coming out, though.
One. Yeah. If you target the Robo, why is he targeting the Robo?
Well, other side of the map is getting a little bit awkward. NaNiwa's got Stalkers warped in over here, so he didn't actually warp in on top of the army, which is probably smarter in the situation. And now might just be able to catch the medevac because he's got Blink. He's got a couple of cannons here, and the Colossus spawns in just a moment. Does Blink to focus down what little there is, and that's not a lot.
No, I think that is going to be game. They're coming out one at a time. His base is totally like nothing now, and the reinforcements wasn't necessarily because Bunny had no SCVs. He still has 11, but because the adepts were on top of his reinforcement line.
Yeah, they're killing
all the Marines.
But I gotta imagine there's some degree which shields regenerate faster than the Marines can actually get out and deal damage to them. I mean, this did get deadly close. Like real talk here, guys. If NaNiwa didn't have a gold base for his third, if this was a normal gold base, he may not have held on. I just want to really stress that. Like, the mineral income he had this game was a big part of why he was able to get the units out that he needed to the way he did. Because Bunny, I mean, look at the income graph at the end of the game. This was all NaNiwa all the way for the last 10 minutes. Not even like these last 2 minutes for the attack where it spikes, but for the last 10 minutes.
That's pretty good. Now, Bunny could hope that his Widow Mines do some serious work, and of course the power of Terran Micro can never be underestimated, but with Blink Stalkers, a Colossus, there's going to be very rare times where you can out-micro this. If it was all adepts, maybe trying to base race it, like legitimately, last building to die, but that's armor supplies and medevacs now. GG.
Alright, well, congratulations to NaNiwa as he takes a nice 2-1 lead in the series. We are going to take a small break, though, as we get set up for game number 4. We'll keep this as brief as possible, because I know these guys want to hit the bim, bam, boom. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back soon. Sorry, I was still just messaging Bunny while this was going on. So I just want to get clear, guys. There's no problem with Bunny playing on North America. Like, he's actually the one who said, okay, fine, let's go to North America, right? Like, NaNiwa asked, Bunny said, fine, no problem. Just I guess some frustrations coming down, and one of them being for Bunny, he can't really fully utilize himself. It's funny because we normally talk about this. I feel like more than any, like, we take that as precedence over most other topics of conversation. But with IEM coming down so soon, he is worried about using certain builds and showing too much. So it's a bit funny. This is like, you're trying to restrain yourself from playing. You have to use very select builds, and you can't show anything cool and innovative you made in the last couple of weeks training up for IEM. Mm-hmm. Which is smart. I mean, that's IEM's a bigger tournament. It's worth more money. There's more exposure. Everything's on the line over there. So it's just unfortunate because what I was trying to explain to Bunny was, and this just goes as a public statement to all players playing in our events. You can absolutely, if we can ever accommodate it, we will. have moved this group if that had been an issue for him. I won't say who, but in the other European group, 2 people had requested, hey, we're going to IEM. It's a problem with the day of, plus we don't want to show our builds. Is there a way to play the group after IEM? And because 2 people requested, we could accommodate that like 3 weeks ahead of time. We were able to move the second group. So I just made sure to let Bunny know. Sorry, that's why I was typing in private. That if you let us know and we can accommodate, like we absolutely will. Of course, he didn't know that. And I guess he was probably too, how to say it, like too polite to ask. Like, oh, could you please accommodate me?
Yeah, probably.
A little unfortunate. But we get a new sub. Let's move on. Let's keep seeing how the series plays out. Macabria 666. First sub of the day. Thank you kindly, good sir or madam. It is, however, Game 4 here for the Ting Wildcard Group number 2. Spawning in the upper right side of Blurlack Crest. He is on his last life. We wish him the best of luck. Playing with one hand behind his back, so to speak. It's Team Liquid's Bunny.
The top left as the red Protoss, it's NaNiwa.
So with that new sub, that brings us to 1,132. And when we got that big sub train, a big part of me was like, okay, that's 200 people who might only be here for 1 month. Like, you have to consider that's actually the case. People just sub for the hype. It's absolutely a thing that happens on Twitch all the time. But with people still continuing to sub, I'm starting to think we might actually be able to hold a decent number next month.
Ooh. Made it to the big leagues. We're fancy.
Maybe. That is the true benchmark, though, for those who want to track channel success and all that. Like, March 30th, what does our sub count look like? That's what's going to really matter.
Okay. We'll mark it on our calendar.
Well, you should mark March 6th on your calendar, because that's the day we're doing all the sub celebration stuff to celebrate having all these wonderful subscribers join us. So, yeah, lots of game giveaways. Corsair hopefully going to give us some gear to give away. I'm waiting to hear back. Just trying to set up all kinds of giveaways for said day, guys. So make sure you join us on March 6th, because on top of giveaways, we're going to just be doing... It's like a give back day. I shouldn't say giveaway. It's more like give back to you guys for supporting us. So we want to play games with the viewers, whether it's 4v4s, Archon modes, co-op modes, I don't know. Like we're really just going to dedicate March 6th to the viewers. Specifically the subscribers, but also maybe a couple of the random viewers as well.
Yeah. Should be a fun day. So this could potentially be the last match in this series for Bunny. At Laralac Crest, these positions, it would favor his drops a little bit more. So maybe feeling pretty confident against Warp Prisms.
Well, that's the thing. So Bunny, make you mention, of course, he can't use a lot of crazy innovative builds, right? So we're not going to see any ghost proxies anytime soon. But still, the way he was been playing, like getting aggressive early on, taking that one game off of NaNiwa, it had a little bit to do with the Warp Prism, but it had a lot to do with the way he played following up the Warp Prism, the multi-drops going off, things like that. Was really, really cool to see. So, as silly as it sounds, right? NaNiwa, he's a good Protoss player. I said it before we even got into the series. I was kind of expecting him to do well against Bunny just generally. But if Bunny's doing things like this, he's pushing out with Marines, catches NaNiwa a little bit off guard, forces a probe pull early on. I mean,
yeah,
this isn't something that's like a build you give away. This is just aggression that you're caught off guard by.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect the Marines to push all the way out. Now, that was all of his Marines, mind you. He's only on 1 reactor barracks worth of production, but a Cyclone comes in as well, gets the last hit of that stock that the Marines wanted. This paired up with the Marines, and so rallying forward can actually end games. Because it was one at a time, it's actually going to get cleaned up here.
I almost wish Bunny would go... he's still making more Cyclones, but he doesn't have Magfield Accelerator researching. I was kind of wishing that'd be the direction we go, because that was Reality, who of course did it versus Protoss and made it look so beautiful and sick. I will say this: I don't know if Bunny's got it in him, because he does tend to play a little bit along the side of macro, but a lot of one-base builds that we've been seeing out of Korean Terran have been dominating Protoss. And while again, maybe these are builds he actually has and has practiced, but might not reveal to IEM. I'm really actually going to be curious to see what Bunny looks like over in IEM.
Yeah, I am looking forward to not casting a tournament.
Yeah, for once, right?
No, but seriously. Yeah, I guess they haven't actually announced the caster lineup for that, so it'll be interesting. A couple of Stalkers here. That's enough for Marines.
Isn't Nathaniel in Poland right now, I thought? He was tweeting with something like that.
I have no idea, man.
Maybe I'm totally off base.
No idea. But, yeah, this little bit of aggression. It already killed a Cyclone, but a third Cyclone was made, so Bunny's pretty okay against what is a very non-committal attack from NaNiwa. He's getting a third base. You brought up the first game, and the way that Bunny played it, just as well as the War Prism. But yeah, he played like this really aggressive Heart of the Swarm drop Terran that was so effective, but not any of the past 3 games, including this one. He's played the more defensive, like get key strong unit style that sets you up for later, basically mid or late game. He doesn't have a third base, that's why I said later, just in general, as he might be going for a mid game attack. But it's not that bad to use tanks on Lerlac. There are a couple of ledges that you can abuse with your main army, and I think it's going to be what he's looking to do.
Well, now he's kept the stalkers outside the base. A little bit scary because they are on the low ground. I mean, yeah, you got Blink to kind of go like, oh shoot, run away, but kind of just needlessly dangerous to leave them where they were. A
little bit. The Observer's like a little off to the left. I mean, what if the tanks had sieged up? Oh well. He does move the Observer, he sees the army. I think he has a good idea of what's going to happen as the game unfolds too, without even seeing the main base, because it is Lerlac. I think this is probably the most common map that we see the tank style, so not just, I have a couple of tanks, let me push out, but actually trying to use them part of your army. Yeah, trying to get the Observer, loses on most of his Marines.
Like, I don't even know if that was bait or just a good reaction out of NaNiwa, but choosing to blink forward to defend the Observer is cool.
Uh-oh.
Now he's going to have the Observer for the high ground. How does that reach? Combat Shields does get completed. Oh my god.
Stim? Oh, Stim's so far back. Good for Bunny there.
Combat Shield, that was scary. Combat Shield's going to be great, especially against Blink Stalkers.
Yeah. And this is Bunny going for a 2-base attack that you can't wait for another whole Stim or even a whole other Combat Shields to finish for. You got to go at some point. And Bunny is almost set up to do that. So NaNiwa's going to try and buy some time with his Stalkers. There's not a whole lot of medevacs, so these tanks probably have to be unsieged to move forward. It's just 4 or 5 of them. And, NaNiwa just have to defend against this. It can be very difficult. This is we've seen quite a few interesting PvTs on this map, actually, that have gone to very scrappy 1 or 2 bases mining.
Yeah. Lerlac has, I will say, we still have yet to find that one really super phenomenal game on Lerlac where you're like, damn, that was the game. That was the game that I'll remember for the rest of my life. But you're right, we've seen some pretty good ones. We've seen some scrappy ones.
There's, the Nighting game, yeah. There's the TY game in GSL versus Patience, I think, that was so totally amazing. That was split map, just constant back and forth. I mean, for as much crap as we give Lerlac Crest, and as much as we give it for PvZ especially, it does create some very fun games. This was the wrong type of move out from Bunny, who had unsieged his tanks. As such, they were not a very big help at all.
Awkward.
Well, nice start for NaNiwa. I mean, you think the answer to this would be to be super defensive, but actually pushing out like that, completely surprising Bunny, he gets a nice lead.
I don't want to call Bunny out yet. It's still too far over, especially with Liberators starting to come into play and being able to use them. But I am wondering, let's just say NaNiwa does win this, right? 3-1, cool. Sends him to the winners match versus a Laser.
Uh-huh.
The Laser's been looking so freaking good lately, and I'm wondering, I don't have the brackets. Was it a Laser who knocked him out of the tournaments? For the qualifiers, I mean, sorry. Clarity.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure about that. I think that, just in general, Zerg.
We'll have to go look that up, I guess, when we get some between game time. But Adept's getting to the top of the army. This kind of signifies that NaNiwa wants to take the fight, so he is going to find himself with those Adepts directly on top of the Marines Marauders. Bunny is going to try his best, but it's not going to be enough, and GG.
Uh-oh. Huh. You called it correctly. We do have the Team Liquid kill on the losers.
Womp, womp. Luckily, that will all be on Europe, so we won't have to sort out jumping around or anything as such. So, yeah, we, of course, always do the losers match first on BaseTradeTV, so it's going to be Bunny versus Snoot coming up next. Yikes. Of course, we have been talking a lot about the sponsors today, and we do have some in-game or in-stream commercials, guys. So the next one we're going to do is going to be the coverage ad. So I would like to remind you all that TING, US mobile phone service, 80% of devices in the last couple of years are totally compatible with TING. There's some Wi-Fi elements to discuss as well. That's why they've actually, the reason they targeted StarCraft 2, they wanted to do a tournament with esports and StarCraft specifically because A, Jesse loves StarCraft, but B, a lot of TING plans, or not plans, excuse me, a lot of the way TING works, because again, there's no plans, it's all rates, you pay for what you use. it all very much has to do with it benefiting people who are on Wi-Fi all the time. Which, if you're watching the stream, chances are you're most likely on Wi-Fi, not data. So, anyways, here's the ad about the coverage. So, word from our sponsors. While we get vetoes sorted with Snoot and Bunny, and we'll be back soon. Thanks for watching the Ting Open.